I'm here in beautiful Janesville, Wisconsin, sort of in between in the midpoint here of the Ice Age Trail on the west side of town here. This part I'm going to be going into is the Arbor Ridge segment, and then go there, track back to this point, and then we'll head on into Janesville with the Devil's Staircase segment. So thanks a lot for this plane for ruining the shot. That's great. So we're going to get into her. So if you're going to come out and enjoy this Ice Age Trail, there's one thing to keep in mind, that a lot of this goes through private land, and just through their generosity and kindness, they're allowed to keep this 1,200 miles continuously going. So don't be a jerk, don't litter, don't be rude, don't destroy things. If you're going to come out here, just appreciate the nature, try to respect other people's property so we can keep this good thing going for decades into the future, hopefully. So keep that in mind. Pretty easy to find your way along this trail. They got these painted yellow things all over the place on trees or posts or whatnot. Help keep you on path, and sometimes there'll be little arrows telling you which direction to go, so pretty easy to find your way along here. So right down there's a little creek flowing through, making its way to meet up with the Rock River. And you look behind me here, you can see them trees up on the line right there. They're a good 100 feet above the ground level where that little creek is. And the same thing is true on this side. I'm standing on the side of a hill right now, that path that we just walked along, where we looked down into the creek there. And there's one thing that is for certain, that creek did not cut out this valley. So a lot of people walk on this trail, but how many of them actually know the devastation of the floods that ripped through here at the end of the last ice age? I mean, this is hundreds of feet wide, and there's just this tiny little creek running through it, and it snakes its way from west to east, working its way to the Rock River for quite a ways. And even in '08, we had devastating floods here, even like one of the worst in recorded history, and that came nowhere near reaching up on this path where I am right now. So if you can imagine how much water would be needed to cut this big valley, and I'll overlay a LiDAR map on here. It's all topography. If you could remove the vegetation, you would see that we are on one side of a huge valley, and that little creek is down at the bottom, and there's no way that creek cut this valley out. It's just not possible. So tons of ice age glacial features at the end when water was just ripping across a lot of the U.S., especially Wisconsin here. So with what I'm showing you here, and again, I'll put the LiDAR map over top, you're able to see, like, once you remove this vegetation, get all the trees and plants and everything out of the way, it's completely obvious what is going on here. And there was devastating, catastrophic floods. We're talking hundreds of feet deep, just sheeting over the land. And where it could exploit a weak spot in the ground, it would just down cut, which is why you get all these river valleys here. And they're underfit rivers where little creeks and streams and, you know, even regular rivers like the Rock River flow through, but the valley they're sitting in is like orders of magnitude bigger than the river, creek, or, you know, little stream itself. So everywhere you look around here in Wisconsin, there is just obvious evidence of catastrophic floods unlike anything modern humans have ever seen. So as we go along these trails and whatnot, I'll be giving you the LiDAR maps and showing you, trying to explain what's going on here with the camera, the maps, and a little bit of explanation on how all of this would come to be. So you got that to look forward to. So this is pretty much the end of the Auburn Ridge side. There's several trails that just branch off and take you on different paths around this side of the trail. I've hit about 2 out of the 3 of them that I discovered. They all look pretty cool. But again, there's a couple steep spots like that one where it's the big gravel washout area going down. That was a little sketchy. I slid down there a few parts, so watch out for that kind of stuff. But otherwise, this is a pretty easy going side of the trail. Now I gotta backtrack back to where I parked, which is sort of in the middle of this 4-mile stretch of the trail that I'm gonna do. So I gotta hike back to where my car is, and then we pick up heading east towards Janesville. Be snaking along the Rock River on by some bluffs there, which should be awesome. And so we're gonna head back there. Got to double back, so hopefully we still got enough sunlight. It's almost 4 o'clock already, so hopefully I can get that done. But here's that little creek again that was snaking through. Again, I'll show you some. Well, you probably already would have seen the LiDAR maps by now, but you can see like we're in a big old valley right here, and directly in front of me and way back there behind me where those trees are, it's the tops of that valley here. So if you're in the Janesville area, this is beautiful. It's very well maintained. I just saw a man out here as he was walking along the trail. He's picking up garbage, so it's immaculately clean out here. And you find yourself out here, if you see like a candy bar wrapper or something on the ground, just pick it up and put it in your pocket. Help everyone out. Keep this beautiful. We got 1,200 miles of this stuff in Wisconsin, and we want to keep it pristine, and with your help we can do that. So I'm gonna head back to where I came from, and then we'll pick it on up on the Devil's Staircase side. It's no wonder they call this side the Devil's Staircase. There is just rock switchbacking its way on down towards the Rock River right here. We're a good 70 feet above that, and behind us here, it's probably, from our spot up here, probably another 40, 50 feet to the top, and it's the same across the Rock River there. So the water that had to come through here at the end of the last ice age had to have been unbelievable. Because back in '08, we had some extremely devastating floods here in the Midwest, some of the biggest in recorded history, and the Rock River came nowhere close to getting up to where I am right now. So obviously at some point in history, there had to have been just devastating ocean-level currents of water flooding across Wisconsin, Minnesota, like up in New York, Michigan, out west in Oregon, Montana, the Dakotas. The evidence is everywhere. If you just get rid of this vegetation, it becomes clear. You can see the true topography of the land. And again, I'll throw some LiDAR maps in here where I am standing right now, so you can see, like, it is obvious that massive amounts of water came through here, cut all of this out through the bedrock. Limestone bedrock just cut right through into sheer cliffs, which you'll see up here in a minute. So we're gonna get on going while we still got daylight left. You're walking along all these cliffs. It is gotta be like a 60-degree bank going straight down into the Rock River, so if you slip, good luck. But there's sandstone, and at some point there's limestone bluffs as well. You can see along here it's the orangish color, just brittle like sandstone. Cambrian era. Most of the bedrock in Wisconsin is limestone or sandstone from 400 to 600 million years ago. So Arbor Ridge side is more relaxed, laid back, just a scenic stroll through the woods. This is beautiful on the Devil's Staircase side. Just these, you're walking right next to these bluffs here. So I highly recommend the Devil's Staircase side. Well, it seems as though my trip along the Devil's Staircase is going to have to end right here on this side. There's about several fallen trees here, and to get over them, it is just a steep embankment down to the river. So I don't know if they got to rebuild this part of the trail each spring because of runoff or something, but it's pretty washed out, and I'm not going to fall into the goddamn Rock River. So I'm going to have to backtrack, loop all the way around the Riverside Park, and then try to come in from this way if I got enough sunlight left. So this side of the trail is no joke, man. You are right on a very steep embankment going straight into the river if you happen to fall off the trail. So keep that in mind. This is, for someone like me who's terrified of water, it was a little sketchy back there. I was kind of freezing up there, so keep that in mind. If you don't like water, you're afraid of falling down a very steep embankment into a river, this might not be the side for you. But other than that, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous with the beautiful river going by. Again, you're in a valley here. You got the big limestone cliffs up there. I'll turn around and show you the camera. The lower ones are sandstone, so it looks like limestone built on top of it, which I guess would make sense back 400 or 500 million years ago, where Wisconsin was closer to the equator, this shallow, tropical sea, where all of the limestone was deposited back then, coming out of the Cambrian. All the little shells, anything with calcium in their shells, they keep piling up and get smashed into rock eventually. So that's where all of our limestone came from, back when this was a tropical paradise by the equator. So now we're over here on the east side of the Devil's Staircase. There's Riverside Park here in Janesville. Still right along the Rock River, so I figure I'm gonna go head back west as far as I can, see if I can run into those fallen trees. And right over here, there's that limestone I was talking about. Hey, this stuff back here looks like a mix of sandstone and possibly limestone, or maybe even dolomite up in there. Seems like a mixture of several different rocks, but how big that bluff is right there, it's a good drop down to the river yet. So like I mentioned before, with how low the Rock River is down there, how high these bluffs are, you're looking at several hundred feet deep of water that came through here at the end of the last ice age, when they started melting away rapidly and just cut all this out. All the bedrock just ripped away by these floodwaters, and all that's left now is the Rock River weaving through this deep valley that was cut probably around 12,000 years ago. So it's just gorgeous here. This is so beautiful. I encourage everyone to come here and check this out for sure. Now we got some limestone. Yeah, I don't know how it changes where the boundary is, or like I said, if it's just a mishmash of a bunch of shit. But yeah, this is for sure limestone. Really hard, really good stuff. Yeah, that ain't sandstone.